Yeah, good stuff from Morrow right there, like forcing out the Psy Storm. I don't know if he knew that the High Templars were out, or maybe it was luck, but initially, in the initial skirmish, he forced out a storm that nearly did nothing to his forces and really came out of it ahead.
And they're doing a good job of, anticipating the siege tanks here, although they're currently unable to see his expansion. He moved all those probes away.
And those medevacs, medevacs will help in that regard.
Yeah, and there's no more probes to destroy over here. Looks like Nightend has nowhere near what he would need to defend this expansion at the moment. So maybe with a little bit more warping in, be able to come up with something. But siege tanks on the low ground like that, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
Just gotta pick out those Marines, I think.
Worker count was virtually even before the Marines got in there and finally destroyed those probes. Now the edge definitely going towards Morrow. Map control definitely edging towards Morrow, but at this point, the Protoss, kind of taking his chances while he can, thinking that Morrow's probably a little bit spread out right now at this point, getting another expansion and a northerly gold expansion right now, or maybe just trying to take advantage and get his workers mining that. But he is going to build another Nexus. Feels like he could probably protect it at this point. Might not be able to a little later.
Yeah, Nightend actually has his army sort of split up. He's got a couple, Immortals towards the south. He's got a bunch of High Templars in the north. And an Archon over here. It's just, it's very divided, his forces. But I suppose Morrow is kind of divided too. He's got this whole line across the middle here.
Morrow taken to building a few more Vikings into his army recently. That might be something he regrets, because right now the Vikings not doing anything in this skirmish in the middle of the map. You'll probably have to lower them at an opportune moment. No, right now he's electing just to use them as scouting to see how big the Protoss army actually is, feeling that his siege tanks can hold back the Protoss, at least for the time being. Losing the bulk of his ground units, though, did Morrow. And let's see how ballsy the Protoss gets now. How much he feels he can do.
Three ghosts coming out here, laying down just as many. What are those called?
EMPs, yeah.
Yeah. And well, didn't quite turn the tide of battle. Morrow
nicely
more units.
Nicely positioned pylon there for Nightend, right behind the tall grass. Excellent area for warping in reinforcements. The medevacs definitely saving Morrow right now. Without those medevacs, Protoss could have definitely pushed in and taken a lot of those supply depots out.
3 medevacs, very, very red health. One at 40, one at 15, and one at 10.
Yeah, the Archons are going to poach at least one of those medevacs. I'm surprised they didn't end up getting 2. Protoss is going to be forced to run back his main forces.
One medevac now at 3 hit points, still surviving. And Nightend, as I like to see, quickly warping in a bunch more zealots, making use of that warp gate technology to quickly regain the forces it lost.
Nicely positioned storms here from Nightend. He's really pushing the issue to Morrow and making Morrow feel really uncomfortable.
A bunch of Archons out on the field, which is not something I see too often.
Definitely,
like they have nice long range. They have ability to attack air.
Definitely great anti-air. Morrow trying to do a bit of a tactical strike, a diversionary tactic to try to get rid of this gold expansion right now, but the Protoss will be up to the task. Morrow, meanwhile, getting 2 expansions going in the south end, and the gold just absolutely filled up with mules right now, and a planetary fortress on it to protect it. So Morrow going to be getting a nice bit of income right now. Definitely the edge to income is still in Morrow's favor, so he's going to be able to resupply and to replenish his ranks pretty quickly.
Nightend running from 4 Marines. I guess these Marines are really heroic, really scary.
Here comes some more bold bunker placement from Morrow right, within feet of the Protoss army. He's just going to brashly start building bunkers. I don't know if any of these bunkers are actually going to succeed in getting built. It doesn't look like any of them will. These couple of zealots up here are going to take care of that. The storm's still making Morrow really apprehensive in moving out. Maybe not apprehensive in building bunkers, but making him feel jittery when moving out his ground troops. That's exactly what storms are meant to do.
Yeah, placing some nice ones there as more retreats. Actually taking down a couple of his hit points, taking him down 50% with those storms. But those troops back up and they get fully healed by the medevacs and they're ready to go in seconds.
Yeah, Morrow's income really keeping him in the game right now. It's definitely tapered off after those mules have run out on the gold mineral field, but another battalion of mules right back on the gold. Morrow clearly saving those up for the gold expansion, and his income jumps right back up in the lead, and these bunkers might actually succeed in getting built. Can Morrow reestablish his strong positioning here in the middle of the field? Good movement there from Morrow away from the storm, starting to anticipate those a little bit better. Moving more and more SCVs out here into the middle to try to complete these bunkers. One bunker will get up, and the second bunker almost finished, probably going to complete. I'm loving this aggressive attempt at map control here by Morrow. It seems like the Protoss is probably. I feel like he'll probably be very, very frustrated at this point of the match, feeling that that he's had the best of these last 4 or 5 exchanges in the middle, but Morrow just very stubbornly pushing out and gaining more and more authority. 2 great storms there by Nightend.
Yeah, I mean, with these siege tanks behind the grass, there's not really much you can do about these bunkers. I mean, it's just those siege tanks can't really be focused down because you have to move so far in order to start attacking them.
Absolutely no vision there, and it looked like Morrow was considering building a command center, perhaps making a planetary fortress out here in the middle ground, which would be something I'd love to see. It would be really, really great. Looks like he canceled it, but probably maybe an idea that's still in the back of his mind. Let's see if he another greatly positioned storm by Nightend there, getting all of the ground, the M&Ms, to walk right through it and get the bulk of the effect.
Looks like one bunker in the middle might burn down here. I wonder if these Marines will be okay.
No, that bunker will be destroyed. The Marines come at it unscathed.
Man, that's too bad. I would like to have seen them die with the burning down bunker, but can't always get what you wish for.
Now with Morrow, without Morrow muling the gold mineral field, the income tips drastically towards the Nightend, the Protoss, and he's going to be able to reinforce and hopefully take back some authority in this middle ground. Let's see if he's changing tactics at this point. Doesn't look like it.
Well, if Morrow gets that planetary fortress down in the middle, I would say it's time for a Nightend to QQGG out of the game, because you can't really, with the Vikings in the air, there's nothing you can do about it. And
yeah, I'm a little surprised Nightend hasn't taken this economic advantage, as well as his relatively unabused bases to transition to air, to carriers or a decent battalion of Phoenixes and Void Rays. The mules go up again into the gold mineral field for Morrow, definitely saving up those mules, and every time he does, the income spikes and rockets right back up for Morrow. It's a seesaw in effect for as far as the income is concerned. Both of these players very close to mining out most of their expansions. Still a good amount of minerals for Nightend now that he's reestablished his natural that was so rudely interrupted by siege tanks, but that's back up and running.
Yeah, it's back up and running a little bit. I mean, it's going to need a bunch more probes to make use of itself, but looks like he's moving some out from his main now, that his main is completely useless. One mineral field remaining there with exactly 5 minerals to be mined out.
I would have loved to I would have loved to see Morrow take those troops up the hill. That was one of his finest opportunities to see what in fact was going on in the Protoss base. Hasn't taken a peek over there in quite a long time, but understandably hesitant, as even as these skirmishes have gone. Must have figured that the Protoss still had troops to resupply the ranks, but the Protoss kind of caught without troops right now. And Morrow's apprehension might allow him to get back into the game, but we'll see. We'll see how Morrow takes this lull in battle, and he will try to take a chance on this expansion. But a High Templar on the low ground, going to totally melt down these ground units. Great positioning once again from the Storms.
Gonna melt down those ground units, but Morrow just has so much army right now. You know, like what does Nightend have? He has 7 Zealots. 3 High Templar and 1 Immortal. There's just no way that those can contend against the army of Morrow at this point in the game.
Yeah, it looks like without any army to speak of, and his economy being whittled down, map control totally belongs to Morrow right now, and fully mining out most of the map. It looks like it's an inevitability for the Protoss. Really great aggressive stuff from Morrow. I love seeing that aggressive map control, and just brash play with the bunkers, and not really retreating after suffering losses in the middle ground. Nightend finally will succumb to that play, and with the GG, and a pretty interesting game. What'd you think, Baez?
Well, you know, oh man, I just can't imagine what Nightend could have done better throughout the game. I mean, I guess it just boggles my mind.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Vikings came out relatively late for Morrow, and so did the missile turrets. Maybe if he had taken it slightly more of an emphasis on air. I mean, you know, obviously hindsight's always great in these games, but you know, maybe he would have been able to. You know, he was definitely scouting pretty well for most of the game. Saw that Morrow was really going to put the emphasis on siege tanks. I would have liked to see some Voiders and stuff like that. But you know, just great stuff in the middle. And sometimes you just don't have the right units, and even though you play, you know, really well, really admirably. So you know, I think 2 great players playing at a very high level, and you know, one just had the unit composition to beat the other one. I think,
like with the insanely large amount of siege tanks that Morrow did have, I would have liked to see, like you mentioned, Nightend, you know, get some more air, get like particularly Phoenixes to lift them off the ground. You know, Colossi. Never saw Colossi throughout the entire game. But you know, I think Morrow got in his head. He had a battalion of like 10 Vikings, which were actually never replaced. But as soon as Nightend saw those Vikings out there, he's like, well, you know, he decided there's no point to make those air units, you know, because Colossus will fall like dust against Vikings.
Yeah, as soon as you see the Vikings,
with Phoenixes, you know, like Vikings will just take down any air units they come across, except perhaps carriers. But I don't know, like just.
Well, Phoenixes versus Vikings, you know, definitely not. There's definitely not a Phoenix disadvantage. You just need, you know, an appropriate.
You need a 4-to-3 ratio in order to take down a certain amount of Vikings with Phoenixes. But I'm not exactly sure. But in terms of what they cost, I think you need a great deal more Phoenixes, which then become completely useless once they have taken out the Vikings, as opposed to Vikings, which are not useless if there's no air to speak of on the other side.
Well, it was a great game, and we're glad we were able to bring it to you. Like we said, we will find out what tournament this was from. TL replay of the week in their tournament roundup. And for myself, for Baez, and for the Wood League, we thank you for tuning into this game, and we will see you next time.